Good morning to everyone. Today I'm going to take you on a short trip to one of the most fascinating countries in the world, Egypt, famous for its pyramids, ancient pharaohs, and the Nile River. Egypt is a country where history and modern life blend perfectly. In this presentation, we'll explore its location, culture, economy, and traditions, and discover why Egypt remains such a unique and important nation in all the world. Egypt, officially known as the Arab Republic of Egypt, it's a country with a long history that has greatly influenced of developing human civilization. It was home of powerful empires, pharaonic dynasties, and great advances in astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and architecture. Today, it combines this legacy with a dynamic present that faces modern challenges: population growth, economic development, social change, and adaptation to globalized
The
world.
capital is Cairo, a megalopolis that stretches along both sides of the Nile. It has tens of millions of inhabitants and is the heart of the country. It is home to political powers, national institutions, museums, universities, media outlets, and much of the economic and cultural activities. Its streets are a mix of traditional neighborhoods and modern areas, historic mosques, ancient bazaars, and contemporary buildings. In addition, from Cairo you can easily access many of the archaeological sites of ancient Egypt.
Major cities: Alexandria, coastal city on the Mediterranean Sea, famous for its history as a center of culture and science in ancient time. Its ancient library of Alexandria was one of the most important in the world. Giza, home to the iconic pyramids, Cheops, Khafre, Menkaure, and the Great Sphinx, one of Egypt's most recognizable symbols. Luxor. Formerly Thebes, it was the capital of pharaonic Egypt during many periods. Here are the Temple of Karnak and Luxor, the Valley of the Kings, and the Valley of the Queens.
Egypt is located in Northeast Africa, with the Sinai Peninsula in Asia, making it a transcontinental country. It borders Libya to the west, Sudan to the south, and Israel to the northwest, at the coastlines of the Mediterranean Sea at the Red Sea. Its position is strategic for world trade, especially because of the Suez Canal, which connects the Mediterranean to Red Sea, preventing ships from having to circumnavigate at the African continent.
Languages and the official languages. The official languages is Modern Standard Arabic, used in documents, the media, and formal education. However, the Egyptian dialect of Arabic is spoken on a daily basis. In addition, English and French are commonly used in tourist, academic, and commercial settings. Egyptian Arabic has a significant influence in the Arab world through Egyptian cinema, music, and culture.
Currency. The official currency is the Egyptian pound, EGP or LE. Common banknotes include 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, and 200 pounds. There are also fractional coins. The design of the banknotes includes historical monuments, temples, mosques, and cultural assets. In 2025, the exchange rate is around $1, 48 and 50 Egyptian pounds, although this may vary due to economic factors.
In Egypt, a liter of milk costs about 25 Egyptian pounds, which is equivalent to approximately 50 cents. In Colombia, the same liter costs approximately $1, or its equivalent in Colombian pesos or COP. Therefore, milk is cheaper in Egypt. However, when compared to local income and price levels like inflation rates or transportation, the differences are very complex and more complex in terms of real cost of living in that countries.
Minimum wage. In 2024, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi ordered an increase in the minimum wage of approximately 50%, raising it to 6,000 Egyptian pounds per month as part of social measures to ease economic pressure. Additionally, there are plans to equalize this minimum wage for public sector's workers by July 2025, meaning that both the private and public sectors will have the same minimum wage. This wage is currently equivalent to approximately $138, according to the estimated exchange rate. It should be noted that with high inflation, the real value of the wage may be reduced if prices rise rapidly.
System of government. Egypt is a presidential or semi-presidential republic where the president has a very strong role. There is a parliament and prime minister, but the president has broad executive, security, and strategic decision-making powers. The constitution defines the roles, but in practice, political power is highly centralized. The country is divided into governorates, provinces that are depend on the central government. Although the state declares itself secular, Islam is the predominant religion and influences culture and some social laws.
The current president is Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who has been in office since June 8, 2014. He has re-elected in 2018 and again in 2023, although these elections have been questioned by observers due to a lack of political competition. During his time in office, he has promoted major infrastructure projects such as new cities, highways, and the expansion of the Suez Canal, along with several economic reforms. However, his government is often criticized for restrictions on the press and political opposition and for a high concentration of power. In ancient times, Egypt was ruled by pharaohs, who were same both kings and gods, with absolute control over the state, religion, the army, and the population.
GDP. Egypt's economic growth has shown signs of recovery. In fiscal year 2024-25, real GDP grew by 4.5% compared to the previous year. In some quarters, this growth has been even higher. For example, in the third quarter of fiscal year 2024-25, growth of 4.77% was recorded. In nominal terms, the estimated GDP for 2025 is around $406 to $423 billion. Local market according to the projections from economic sources. GDP growth is driven by the manufacturing sector, tourism, construction, and private investment following recent reforms.
Trade balance. Egypt usually has a trade deficit, meaning it imports more goods than it exports. However, its income from service, tourism, Suez Canal fees, remittance from Egyptians living abroad partly offsets these deficits. Recently, the current account deficit has narrowed. For example, in the April-June quarter of 2025, it was around 2.2 billion compared to about 3.7 billion in the same period a year earlier. The Suez Canal remains a vital source of foreign exchange, although its operation can be affected by geopolitical tension or maritime conflicts.
Major exports like crude oil, natural gas, and refined energy products, Egyptian cotton, textiles, and clothing. Agricultural products like fruits, vegetables, and processed foods. Chemicals, fertilizers, and minerals such as gold. And main imports like machinery, industrial equipment, and electronic technology. For example, vehicles and automotive parts, and grains for domestic consumption and this country, and refined foods when local production does not meet the consumption.
Typical dish. Koshari is considered the most emblematic national dish. It combines rice, lentils, pasta, chickpeas, fried onions, and spicy tomato sauce. It is an inexpensive, popular dish that represents the country's cultural mix. Other popular dishes include full-made eggs, a spicy fava bean stew, typically eaten for breakfast, falafel, shawarma, and various bread-based dishes, such as aish balabi. Egyptian cuisine reflects Arabic, Mediterranean, and African influences, with heavy use of spices such as cumin, coriander, garlic, and herbs.
Traditional clothing. For men, a traditional garment is the galabeja, long loose tunic made of light fabrics to suit the hot climate. It is worn more frequently in the countryside and rural areas, sometimes accompanied by a turban or a scarf. For women, there is the abaya or long dresses with veils, hijab, in religious or traditionalist regions. For celebrations, more elaborate clothes are worn with embroidery, bright colors, and jewelry. At festivals, weddings, or cultural events, costumes can be very ornate and rich in local details and reflecting the regional identities of Upper Egypt, the Nile Delta, or the desert.
Traditional Egyptian music combines elements of classical Arabic music and indigenous rhythms. Instruments such as the oud, Arabic flute, qanun, Oriental harp, or darbuka or tabla, and naik flute are common. There are genres such as classical tarab, regional folk music, and shabi, which is an urban style popular among the working classes and young people in this country.
In conclusion, Egypt is a country of contrast and depth. Its ancient past, with pharaohs, temples, and pyramids, is not just historic, but leads on in the everyday identity of its people. Today, Egypt faces major challenges like inflation, trade deficit, inequality, and foreign debt pressure. Current data show us a country seeking to get its economy back on track, strengthen its infrastructure, and project itself as a key player in the region. For your audience, Egypt is an example of how history and modernity coexist, a country that honors its past while moving toward for the future. Thank you.